The village of Black Hollow was no place for outsiders. It lay deep in the woods, hidden from the modern world, where superstitions were law and silence was survival. The villagers had seen horrors before, things they never spoke of. So, when an old woman arrived, cradling a newborn in her frail arms, the air grew heavy with unease. She called herself Martha and claimed the baby was her grandson, Elias. She said she had no family left and wanted to raise him in a quiet place, but no one welcomed her. The villagers only whispered, their faces pale with fear. They knew something was wrong. Martha found shelter in an abandoned cottage at the edge of the village. It was rotting, its walls warped with time, but she made do. Every night the villagers heard strange whispers from the house, murmurs that slithered through the wind. And the baby, oh, the baby never cried. Not once. One night, young Henry, a curious boy from the village, dared to peek through the window. What he saw sent him running, screaming into the woods. He babbled to the elders, his face twisted in terror. The baby, it wasn't moving, Henry stammered. Its eyes were open, staring at nothing. And Grandmother Martha, she was talking to it, but her voice was not her own. It was deep and cruel, like something else was speaking through her. The villagers could no longer ignore the unease creeping into their bones. That same night, the whispers grew louder, words in an unknown tongue, voices that did not belong to this world. Then a piercing scream echoed through the village. A group of men, armed with torches, stormed towards the cottage. But as they reached the door, it swung open on its own. The house was pitch black inside. No light, no movement, only the overpowering stench of decay. Then they saw Martha standing there, cradling Elias. But Elias was no baby. His body was twisted, his limbs too long, his skin blackened like burnt flesh, and his eyes, empty sockets that bled darkness. Martha smiled, but her lips stretched too wide, her face splitting apart. "You should have left us alone," she whispered. The men screamed, but it was too late. The door slammed shut, trapping them inside. Outside, the villagers listened in horror as their cries turned to gurgles, then silence. By morning, the cottage was gone. Only a blackened patch of earth remained, as if it had never existed. But at night, the whispers still roamed the village, and sometimes, if you listened closely, you could hear the faint, chilling giggle of a baby in the wind.